And welcome, rugby fans, to Rugby 411. As always, I'm your host. My name is Joshua Shibata, and this is a interesting video dealing with rugby not on a pro level, but actually on the college level. The original intention of this YouTube channel has always been about spreading the amazing word of a sport that millions of people around the world love, and we're hoping millions of people will start to love here in the United States, rugby. Now, my goal not only is to spread the word, is to also give you, the viewers, information and be informed of rugby events and rugby matches that are happening in the United States, not only on the pro level, but on levels of experience below that, and particularly in this video at the college level. Now that rugby is starting to become more popular, it's become very apparent that in order to grow the sport of rugby, just like any sport in America and technically all over the world, you have to entice your players to participate in rugby, but you have to give them a clear pathway of how they can be able to compete in a sport at the top echelon, the pro level. And it just doesn't happen like that, you know. You got to give players and young kids the pathway, a clear pathway of how they can get from where they are to the top. And you see that in every sport, especially here in America with the more popular sports like baseball, basketball, particularly football. I'm a huge college football fan, and you could see it growing up. I played a little bit of pee-wee football, and you watch any athlete that's now at that pro level, and they all started the same way. They all started at playing in the pee-wee level, moving their way up to playing in their junior high, more than likely their high school, then from high school being recruited to college, and at the college level you're hoping you're good enough that you'll get drafted to go to the NFL. And again, it's a clear pathway so that any kid, anyone's family too, can see how they can get their kid to play a sport and hopefully maybe make it a lucrative career in the future at that pro level. Rugby should be no different. And that is what now, with the growth of rugby, the pathways to get to that top level Major League Rugby is starting to become more and more apparent. And organizations like the College Rugby Association of America, the Collegiate Rugby system, they're all doing their part in helping define those pathways at the college level. And also, too, with the development of now the Rugby Network, you have networks like CBS and NBC that are focusing on bringing rugby to the mainstream masses through television or streaming platforms. Now people have the accessibility to watch these college players as they develop their abilities to hopefully one day get to the pro level. And if you are a sports fan like I am, that's the fun. I mean, the reason why I feel a lot of people like watching college football, March Madness, college basketball, baseball, is because you're going to see possibly these future superstars at the beginning of their athletic career right before they make the jump to the pro level. So it's very exciting to possibly, if you catch either of these tournaments that I'm going to be talking about, you might see a future MLR superstar in the making in these tournaments. So again, the goal of this YouTube channel has always been about informing, spreading the word of rugby, and if you are a college sports fan, it's easy to make that transition now to college rugby, and then you can start enjoying things like the MLR draft. You'll know who these people are that are being drafted because you watch them in these tournaments. So again, it becomes very, very exciting, and it's one of the things that I'm very, very excited to look forward to. So, long intro done. In this video, we're going to be focused on two events. One, the 2022 College Rugby Association America National Collegiate Rugby Championship. Oh, I know it's a big, big mouthful, but they're going to have a huge event this Saturday, this Saturday, April 30th, and we're going to be previewing those games. And we'll also be talking about the Collegiate Rugby Sevens Championship and their selection Saturday, also happening Saturday, April 30th. And we'll be talking about that, exactly what that is. Again, both of these are very, very exciting events. So if you're really into college sports and you want to try to make that transition to college rugby, this is going to be the video to help you get your start on that. So let's start with the 2022 College Rugby Association of America National Collegiate Rugby Championship. Again, a big mouthful. We'll just call it the National Collegiate Rugby Championship. But boom. There you see we have technically 4 games that are going to be displayed. And I'm going to explain why there's a technical on the 4. But these are 4 games. One of them is focusing on the men's rugby, college rugby, and then the other 3 are in the women's college rugby. So all these games are going to be done Saturday, April 30th. They're all going to be taking place at the Aviva Stadium in Houston, Texas, home to the Houston SaberCats, the MLR team. And they're all going to be streamed live on the Rugby Network. So again, a great opportunity to download the Rugby Network. If you haven't already, you should, especially if you want to watch every Major League Rugby game live, on demand, archived. You can see every game from 2021 season as well. You could also watch competitions from outside of America, including games from Japan in their Japan League One competition. But now they're also going to be showing college games. And then they just made the announcement, real quick side note, that they're going to start showing high school games, certain high school events, certain high school showcases. So now, if you really are into sports and you want to see these kids at the high school level about to make the jump to college, high school football, very, very popular in certain states. Now you could do it, and it's all on the Rugby Network. Download it as soon as you can. You won't regret it. So again, we're going to have these 4 games that are going to be taking place this Saturday, April 30th. And just a little background, the National Collegiate Rugby Championship is the biggest college rugby championship. Started in 1980, has been going on ever since. It's divided into several different divisions. For the men's, there are only going to be a championship from the top division, which is Division 1A. Formerly was called the Elite Division, but now it's Division 1A. The College Rugby Association of America, it kind of is like the NCAA, though it is not as official of a sanctioning power as the NCAA, though, eventually it probably will be. It has the backing, though, of USA Rugby. There are other organizations that regulate college rugby, and that's where there is a little bit of confusion, a little bit of different championships that are handed out to different schools, different divisions. Hopefully in the future, and it's no different than football. College football first started the same way, where there's all these different divisions. Now we do have a top college division, and then you have a Division 1 and Division 2. Rugby is sort of maybe going to start to form a more unionized organization. But right now, the College Rugby Association of America is one of the top ones. Again, it has the backing of USA Rugby, which is what funds the American National Eagles team. So, again, a great showcase for a lot of a lot of college talent to possibly catch the eyes of both the men's and women's national teams. So let's focus on the main game, the main event of the night, which is going to be the D1A Division Championship. And we started with, the game is going to be between Army and St. Mary's College of California. If you never heard of St. Mary's College of California, don't worry, I didn't either until this, but they are apparently a pretty powerful rugby school. They're a private college located in Moraga, California. It's up in the San Francisco Bay Area. Their team is called the Gales. They have 3 championships. They had a great game in the semifinals against Cal just recently. Cal, from Cal State Berkeley, one of the biggest schools in California, is actually one of the most dominating college rugby schools. They have 26 national championships. Though they haven't won one since 2011, they were in the semifinals this year, and as I mentioned before, they lost a tough game to St. Mary's College of California. The Gales just dominated Cal, and they made their way back into the championship. They are going to be facing against Army. Army, this is going to be their third championship appearance. They haven't won a championship yet. Their last appearance was in 1990 when they lost to Air Force, 18-12. They are making this is going to be their fourth appearance in a college final. On their way to the college championship, they defeated some really tough teams. They defeated Life University. Life University has the second most championships in college rugby. They have 4 of them. And actually, Life University, which is, funny enough, is a chiropractic school, private chiropractic school in Marietta, Georgia. Apparently, they have a very good rugby program as well. They and St. Mary's College of California have won the last 7 championships between the two of them. So Life University has 4, St. Mary's has 3. Last year, there was no rugby championship because of the pandemic, but these two have traded the championships back and forth. Army beat Life. Army also beat Lindenwood University, which is a private school in St. Charles, Missouri. Lindenwood is a very big rugby program. So big that they actually started as a Division II school, but they were so good that they bumped up to Division I a couple of years ago. And even though they haven't won a championship at the Division I level, they came very close. They made this tournament. Unfortunately, Lindenwood lost to Army, and then Army also beat Life as well in the semifinals to make it to the finals. So again, your finals for the Division 1A for 2022, Army taking on St. Mary's College of California. I got to catch both of the semifinal games. I also got to catch one of the early quarterfinal rounds for St. Mary's. St. Mary's College is pretty impressive. Army was really, really good in their game against Life. Very, very aggressive, very strong. Also kind of helped that they were playing at home. They have a very, very strong home crowd. I don't really want to make a prediction in this game because I'm not too familiar with college rugby, but it's going to be a very interesting and exciting game. St. Mary's, again, has the pedigree. They have 3 titles. They've won them within the last 7 years. Army has never won a championship before. Last time that they've been in the championship, as I mentioned before, was back in 1990. So this is going to be a big, big step for Army. But should be an exciting game. Both Army and Army was seeded 1 in the tournament that led into this championship final. St. Mary's College was ranked number 2. So 2 top-ranked teams facing off against each other in the finals. So now moving on to the Women's Division I Elite Championship game. That game is going to be between Life and Lindenwood. And as I mentioned before, Life and Lindenwood are both very good rugby schools, not only in men's. The men's were in the championship tournament. Unfortunately, both of them fell to Army. But Life and Lindenwood are facing off against each other in the women's side in the final. This is actually the 4th straight time that the women's Life and the women's Lindenwood teams have faced off against each other. Again, 2020, unfortunately, there was not a championship game, so they faced off against each other in 2019, 2018, 2017. And Lindenwood has won all 3 of those championship games. So Life has their work cut out for them. It's Life versus Lindenwood Part 4, and hopefully maybe Life will win this one. Lindenwood, again, is a very, very strong program. We'll see what happens there. Moving on. We go down a level in the women's side of the college organization, and we have the Division I. So Division I and Division II are made up of primarily the smaller schools. The Division I Elite is more of your quote-unquote powerhouse rugby teams with a little bit more a little bit more money behind them, a little bit more attendance. The Division 1, Division 2 are a little bit smaller schools, but just like with the Lindenwood on the men's side, either of these schools can easily make the jump if they've proven that they're worth making the transition to a higher level of competition. Now, if you notice, boom, we're bringing up the Division 1 spring championship game between BYU and Virginia Tech. In Division 1 and Division 2, they have two championships, one in the spring and one in the fall. Obviously, this is spring, so we're going to have the spring championship games for Division 1 and Division 2. In Division 1, it's BYU versus Virginia Tech. This is actually a rematch from the prior championship. There was, again, no championship last year. And in that game, BYU smoked Virginia Tech 48-0. We'll see if that happens again in the rematch. Neither one has been in a championship prior to this. BYU has only one championship under their belt. And the D2 game for the spring, and this is where we don't know quite what the lineup is going to be. I'll bring up the graphic here. As you see, there's 4 teams. Unfortunately, they have not determined yet who's going to be in the finals. And from what I understand, this semifinal game, I don't know if it's going to be streamed on the Rugby Network. It may or may not. Is actually going to take place the Friday before the Saturday game. So whoever wins from these two teams, they'll have to face off against each other the very next day, which is, man, that's asking a lot for any rugby team, men or women. So going to be really tough, but that's apparently the way that it worked out for this tournament. On one side, we have College of Williams and Mary, and that's a private college out of Williamsburg, Virginia. They're taking on Claremont, which is a representative of the Claremont colleges. It's a group of colleges, private women's colleges in Southern California. I actually had a friend that went to Harvey Mudd. It's a beautiful campus. And this Claremont team is actually a combined grouping of Harvey Mudd and Claremont Scripps. So those two are together in this game, in this team, and they represent Southern California. They're going to be taking on, again, College of Williams and Mary on one side. On the other side, we have Appalachian State, the Mountaineers from Boone, North Carolina, taking on the Aztecs, the San Diego State University. So California is well represented on both sides of this little tournament. The winner of the College of Williams and Mary and Claremont will take on Appalachian State, San Diego State winner on the very next day. Yeah, that's really tough. And this is the first time all 4 of them have made it to the semifinals of this Division II tournament. And so the winners of these 2 games will be the first time that they'll be playing for a national title. So once again, if you get the Rugby Network, this is going to be done the entire day. It's a full day of college rugby on Saturday, April 30th. It begins with the Division II. We don't know exactly who's in the game yet, but the Division II game will kick off 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And then the Division I game we have going on between BYU and Virginia Tech will start at noon Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. The Division I Elite Women's game between Life and Lindenwood will take place 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And then the Division I Elite Men's game, the last one of the night, between Army and St. Mary's of California will kick off 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, all, as I mentioned before, on the Rugby channel, on the Rugby Network. And again, if you've ever wanted to be into college rugby, Saturday is going to be the day, April 30th. You are going to have a whole day of college rugby from both the women's and the men's side. It is a great opportunity to showcase some very talented 15s individuals on the college side of rugby. Now, moving on to our next topic of today, Collegiate Rugby 7 Championship Selection Saturday. What is that? Again, on the Rugby Network, and again, is taking place this Saturday, April 30th. You might as well just download the Rugby Network app, because on Saturday, you are going to be watching nothing but that. So, the Collegiate Rugby Sevens Championship is one of the biggest and longest running sevens tournament in the college scene. Sevens rugby, haven't really been able to go over too much about it. I am a huge rugby sevens fan. That's actually my first love. I got into rugby sevens first because if you never watched rugby sevens, in a nutshell, rugby sevens, I describe to people as basically a bastardized version of rugby, and I mean that in the most lovingest sense. A bastardized version of rugby that is meant for people with ADHD because it's condensed, it's faster, it's quicker. 7 people on the sides instead of 15s. You're still playing with the same size field, so that means less people on a big field, more scoring opportunities. Games are only 7-minute halves. So a game is done in 15 minutes. You can watch a dozen of those games in a day, and it's so much fun, so quick. Scores, it's like if you've ever watched arena football or if you ever played NFL Blitz or NBA, I think it was called NBA Slam Dunk. Those games where there is no defense in it, it's just all scoring, scoring, scoring. That's rugby sevens. Not to say that there's not defense in the game, but games are just all scores all the time. It is so much fun to watch. There's a lot of athleticism involved in it. And again, this Collegiate Rugby Sevens Championship is a way to showcase those abilities on the college level. So, again, the Collegiate Rugby Sevens Championship is the longest running sevens collegiate tournament in America. Founded in 2010, it has over hundreds of college teams that are invited for it. Over 6 different divisions are played. And Selection Saturday, this is going to be the first time they're doing something like this. On the Rugby Network, they're going to announce officially all the teams in the upper division tournaments and their seedings in the first round. Think of it very much like March Madness. When March Madness, they have their Selection Saturday as well. And that's why also this Collegiate Rugby Sevens tournament is sometimes dubbed the May Madness tournament. This is their way of making a big showcase of all the teams that are going to be selected. So if you love March Madness, if you love the announcements that they make, this is going to be rugby's version, rugby sevens version. And it's going to be done on the Rugby Network. It's going to take place at 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 7 Eastern, right before the Dallas and San Diego game. It's going to be on the Rugby Network again. They're going to have a full gala exposure of all the teams that are going to be in the Division 1 division only. Division 1 men's and Division 1 women's. 32 teams in the men's division, 16 in the women. They're going to make the announcement. They'll announce the teams for the other divisions at a later date, but they only have enough time to announce the ones from the top. They're going to announce all the teams. They've already announced a few of them that have qualified, that have won little qualifier tournaments throughout the country. The rest of the spots are all going to be at-large bids. And they're going to make an announcement of who those teams are. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see what colleges get put in and what the first round matches are going to be. The already announced teams that are in on the men's side, Cal State Maritime, which is the Maritime Academy school up in Vallejo, California, which is Northern California. Iowa State, Kutztown, a very big rugby school from Pennsylvania. The defending 3-time champions from 2018 to 2021, Lindenwood, is going to be at the event. Like I said, Lindenwood is a powerhouse of a rugby program, not only on the 15s, but also the 7s. They are the reigning champions. Mount St. Mary's University from Maryland, and the University of Florida. University of Florida. Sorry, not the U. Don't get mad at me, Miami. The University of Florida has been invited. As I mentioned before, Lindenwood are the 3 times defending champions. Cal, again, and a big rugby school. And the 7s, they are 5-time champions. And they actually won the championship rugby 7s tournament from 2013 to 17. Their streak was ended by Lindenwood. They have not officially made it into the tournament, but they could easily be one of the teams announced in the Selection Saturday. Again, 32 men's teams. We only have 6 that have been announced so far, so they're going to announce the rest of them on Selection Saturday. On the women's side, half of the teams have already been announced in Division 1. We have Boise State, Clemson, Grand Canyon University, which is out in Phoenix, Arizona, Life University from Marietta, Georgia, who are the two-time champions, from 2016 and 17. Lindenwood on the women's side are also three-time champions for Rugby 7. So the men and women have won the same time 3 times, and they are coming in as defending champions. Notre Dame school, not Notre Dame that we all know, the Fighting Irish, but a Notre Dame college from Ohio. Southern Oregon University, which is located in Ashland, Oregon, and the University of Northern Iowa from Cedar Falls. Lindenwood, as I mentioned before, are the 3-time defending champions. They have the most titles, tied with Penn State. Penn State has not been announced yet for the tournament, but again, they could easily be announced at Selection Saturday. So again, Selection Saturday, I think, is going to be super exciting. I like this idea that they're doing, making it very similar to March Madness announcement for the college tournament. This is going to be May Madness announcement for Rugby 7s. The actual tournament itself is going to be taking place May 28th through the 30th. That's Saturday through Monday. And it's going to take place at the Gold Mine, the home of the NOLA Gold, down in Louisiana. It's going to be airing on CBS Sports and the Rugby Network. So if you have the CBS Sports channel, you can watch all the games. If you don't, you can watch a majority of them on the Rugby Network. But again, don't miss out on Selection Saturday, which will be taking place exclusively on the Rugby Network, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, right before the Dallas and San Diego Legion game. And again, the National Collegiate Rugby Tournament is going to be taking place on Saturday as well. That's going to start off one more time with the Division II game, 10 o'clock on the West Coast, 7 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast. So early morning start for the Division II games. But again, I'm sorry, not a beginning start. It's a 10 to 11 12, 1 p.m. Sorry, sometimes my math goes a little off. 1 p.m. start on the East Coast. But again, it's going to be a full day of college rugby. And again, I'm just super excited. I think it's great that the Rugby Network is doing something like this. It's great for those sports fans who are into college sports, and it's a great chance for them to get into college rugby. As the College Rugby 7 Championship gets a little bit closer, I'll preview a little bit more. But hope you enjoyed the preview for the CRAA National Collegiate Rugby Championship. Maybe I'll do a review of the game after it takes place. Maybe a review of all 4 of the games. We'll see. But again, I hope you guys check it out. I hope, again, you guys download the Rugby Network. You must if you're going to be a rugby fan here in the United States. It is a must-have. And I hope you enjoyed the channel. And as always, I'll see you on the pitch.